What are we? NRC Round 5 predictions brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for predictions and opinion. And yeah, we have the whiteboard back again. And this round we have the Drua versus New South Wales Country, Canberra Vikings versus Melbourne Rising, Brisbane Brisbane City versus Queensland Country, and the Force versus the Rays. So let's just crack on with that. So Fiji, Drua, sat top of the table on equal points with Queensland Country. Just that solitary loss on their first away game, but they're back home in Fiji and hosting New South Wales Country Eagles, whose solitary win has come against the winless Rays. So, they went down by 55 points to Melbourne Rising. This is going to be a massacre, let's be honest. Last year, it was 31-14 to Fiji Drua, but I expect that's going to be bigger this time. And I'm going for what is a pretty unprecedented for me score of by 30 points to Fiji Drua. Yeah, that is big. I mean, a 20 is about the highest I ever go. But if we look at some of Fiji's early season games, they beat Melbourne Rising by 23. Then they beat Brisbane City by 61. Fine, they only got up over the Rays by 3, but that was on the road. This is back home. So, yeah, they have been involved in some big wins and some big losses. I mean, they lost by 30 points to Queensland Country, but I don't think that's going to happen this weekend. We then have Canberra Vikings hosting Melbourne Rising. Now, Melbourne have been disappointing this season. Just the solitary win over New South Wales Country Eagles, who I've just said expecting to lose by 30 points. So, sure, they lost to Queensland Country just by a solitary point and to Brisbane by just 5, but still, it's not been a good season for them. Canberra, I mean, after that early hiccup against Queensland Country, they've gone pretty well. I mean, Sydney Rays, let's be honest, well, they've lost everybody, so nothing much there. But beating the Force and then New South Wales Country Eagles on the road, it has been a pretty good season case. So two of those teams have been from been in poor Sydney sides. So yes, I am going to go with the Vikings by 3, not with a lot of confidence. As I say, their 2 of their 3 wins have come against those Sydney teams who do currently sit 7th and 8th in the table. You've got to remember those Sydney teams are playing Shoot Shield during the first round of this season, so they haven't had a pre-season to get together, and that's showing against these other sides who've had more preparation time and more time together. We then have a real cracker of a game up north in Brisbane. Brisbane City hosting Queensland Country, real city versus country game, old school game. Brisbane obviously won the first 2 iterations of this tournament, whereas Country won it last year. Brisbane 2 wins at their last 2 games, but again against Sydney, but away to Melbourne. That's that's a pretty good, a pretty decent win. Sure, they lost to Fiji Drua big time, and also lost the Force, who Queensland also lost to. So they both lost the Force. Now, Queensland Country did get up over Fiji Drua, but that was at home, and they're definitely a different side on the road. So I am going to go with Queensland Country by 3. I think it's going to be an absolute cracker. As I say, not much separating these 2 sides, and even in the tables, only 2 points separating them. So I think it should be a really good game. Final game of the round sees the Force host the Sydney Rays. Now, really what we're going to say about the Rays. 4 losses from 4 games by 37 points, 21 points, 14 points, 3 points. You could say, hey, the margin's getting smaller. Perhaps they're ready for a win. Yes, but all those games have been at home. They've played 4 games at home so far, none away. This is their first trip away, and off they go all the way over to Perth, where they have where the Force have let's be honest, a grudge to bear against Sydney teams, and also they won their only home game this season by 26 points. So, yeah, I'm expecting a pretty big win for the Force, and I'm backing the Force to win by 20. So 2 games I think are going to be absolute blowouts at either end of the range of where these games are held, one in Fiji and one in Perth. The 2 middle games I think will be close, and that one up in Queensland between Brisbane City and Queensland Country I think should be an absolute cracker. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Always up for a good old rugby chat, and yeah, enjoy the rugby this weekend.